Episode 4, to me, is probably the icing on the cake that allows the TD to get away with a lot of what they get away with. The TD has a system where, to resolve disputes, they will put their clients through a rigorous 4-part dispute resolution process. This process is flawed because the TD controls all 4 levels of this dispute mechanism, thus making a fair and unbiased result virtually impossible. I suppose putting clients through hell through TD's 4-tier complaint resolution process with no hope of ever getting anywhere is once again something that is okay in the eyes of TD. These 4-level dispute resolution process has completely removed any form of accountability that the TD should be embracing in order to protect the public from their wrongdoings. By allowing this, they can run amok, making mistakes without ever facing the consequences for the damages they cause and or paying any compensation to those they have damaged. I would like to read a letter from the Office of the President written to me, subject TD Canada Trust issues. The letter goes as follows. Thank you for your email and registered letters addressed to Mr. Ed Clark, Miss Colleen Johnson, and other senior executives. As the Manager of Customer Experience for TD Bank, I've been asked to review and respond to your concerns on their behalf. Please be advised that the customer problem resolution process at TD Canada Trust is a 4-step process. Step 1. Customer contacts their branch representative in order to try and resolve their issues. Step 2. If not satisfied with the outcome of Step 1, the customer can escalate their issue to a senior officer of the bank. Step 3. If they are further unsatisfied with previous decisions made, the customer can escalate to the TD Ombudsman Office for investigation and review of their concerns. Step 4. Finally, if the customer is still unsatisfied with all previous levels of decision, they have a final option of contacting the ADR Chambers Banking Ombudsman called ADRBO for a final decision. From here on, we will call this organization the ADR Chambers Banking. With regard to your concern, I can confirm that you have pursued and completed the first 2 levels of the bank's customer problem resolution process as noted above. I can also confirm that the TD Ombudsman Office, Step 3, has received your concern. As such, out of respect for the involvement of the TD Ombudsman's Office, this issue will not be addressed any further by the bank. I recognize that this may not have been the response you were hoping for. I do appreciate you taking the time to contact us. Manager Customer Experience, Office of the President, TD Bank Group. This is a nice sidestep by the TD Bank to try and divorce themselves from the problems that they cause by telling you that they are going to step aside out of respect of the TD Ombudsman's Office and that the issue won't be addressed any further by the bank. Well, the TD Ombudsman's Office is owned by the TD Bank. They are one parcel, so this is just a story to try and separate one evil from another. From experience, I know why they do this, because I've gone through the entire horrendous, time-wasting, insulting, non-independent, non-impartial four-step resolution process starting back in April 2011 and ending September the 19th, 2013. This was just shy of 2.5 years. There is no other purpose for this other than that the TD hopes that most people will either just throw in the towel, finally give up in sheer frustration, or die first. With all the hurdles, roadblocks, and insulting offers TD makes just to avoid their legal and moral obligations, the general TD banking community does not have a chance of resolution if they ever have a serious dispute with a bank. What did I get out of this ludicrous process? Absolutely nothing but lies, cover-ups, insulting offers, threats, harassing phone calls, destruction of our credibility, and well over 300 hours of my time and money putting documents, letters, and evidence together, as well as attending fruitless meetings and much more. Yet the bank admits it made mistakes, not one but many, and all the bank had to say is, regrettably, you were misinformed, followed by 100 and then a 500 insulting bribe in order for me to keep my mouth shut and deny that anything ever happened. Unfortunately, TD controls all levels of this four-part dispute resolution process. However, can TD's clients or I ever expect any more? TD's clients cannot expect a completely fair, unbiased, and impartial forum when all four of the dispute resolution processes are financed and or are controlled by the TD. Once the TD Ombudsman is finished with the client, they will throw the client to the wolves by sending them to an organization that is again controlled by the TD, which is the ADR Chambers Banking Ombudsman Office. How is any client going to get a fair hearing when every channel open to the client is owned or controlled by the TD? From an organization called CCRC or Democracy Watch, they state, and I quote, which I will again read, "Do the banks have adequate complaint handling services? Canada's big banks have all set up an ombudsman's office to handle complaints from customers, mainly small business. In addition, the banks have together set up a national ombuds office with the federal government's approval, and they claim that these offices adequately handle complaints. However, all these offices are fatally flawed because the ombudsmen are all selected, paid, and directed by the banks and cannot overrule any of the bank's decisions. In contrast, Britain has an independent bank ombudsman who can require banks to pay compensation for losses suffered by customers from unjustifiable bank actions." I'm not 100% sure why Canada doesn't have something like this, but I suppose it's big business and banks can do what and as they please. So what did the TD decide to do? They left this above body to start their own, and by so doing removed a possible independent third party from reviewing customers' complaints and concerns. The dispute resolution process that consumers access needs to be credible, independent and impartial, not beholden to any one stakeholder group. Allowing banks to choose a dispute resolution provider gives all the power to the financial institution and none to the consumer. In 2011, the Global Mail reported that the TD quits external banking ombudsman. Starting in November, the new office will handle all customer disputes that TD's own internal ombudsman can't resolve on its own. TD will no longer be part of the Ombudsman for Banking Services. Unfortunately for us, once again, banking chambers did not find any issues with our problems. And I suppose there's some logic in that, because if they're part and parcel of the TD Bank, why would they have gone against the three previous resolution processes? The banking chamber wrote to me, and I quote, "We understand that you are unhappy with the level of customer service you received. We are of the opinion, however, that TD's offer of 500 goodwill gesture fairly recognizes the customer service issue you experienced, and we believe that it's highly unlikely that any investigation on our part would result in a higher amount of compensation being recommended." The banking chamber came up with the following conclusion after investigating our situation: that there was no direct financial loss caused directly by an act or omission by the bank in the provision of a financial service to a customer. Now, if you think about this, this is tragically flawed logic. The banking ombudsman, or the banking chambers, had a mandate to deal with our complaint if they so chose. When the bank was asked about a garnishee, at the time the two deposits were made back in April of 2011, they made a serious error by giving me incorrect information during the normal course of business, while providing a normal financial service. They also omitted giving me vital information that they had 3 weeks prior to the event, once again while providing a normal financial service to me, the customer. Therefore, the bank, while providing financial services, neglected and misinformed me about the two accounts I deposited the money into. Had they not omitted this information, I most definitely would not have posted the money into these accounts in the first place. As with all the other errors made, they were all made during the course of providing a financial service to a customer. And fixing all these errors in my own time without compensation resulted in a direct financial loss to me and our companies. So, how did the banking chamber's office state that there was no direct financial loss caused directly by an act or omission by the bank in the provision of a financial service to a customer? This is unadulterated nonsense. Unfortunately, when all else fails, the banking chamber will do the proper thing by once again trying to silence the complainant as well. I will read from, I believe, the last letter I received from ADRBO. which states, "This letter concludes ADRBO's involvement with your complaint. Our file in this matter is now closed. You will recall at the time you made your complaint to ADRBO, you signed a consent and confidentiality agreement. Please note that this confidential response is intended solely to provide our views on your complaint against TD and is not intended for broader use, circulation, or publication. This letter must not be provided to anyone other than your professional advisors, such as lawyers and accountants, if any, without prior written consent of ADRBO. The contents of this letter are not intended to be, nor should they be interpreted to be legal advice or opinion." Signed by the Deputy Ombuds. Once again, why would the bank have you sign such a release if they had done nothing wrong? The only answer can be is that they are scared to have all the complaints that are revealed against the TD brought to the public eye, and that is why they try and force this down their clients' throats. Why would the TD, one of the largest banks in Canada, put their clients through this process? If they are wrong, which in our case they admit they were, just compensate the customer for what they have done wrong and get on with life. In the name of good customer relations and customer retention. As can be seen below, customer service at the TD is almost non-existent. Once again, I refer you to our website, tdthebully.com, which has links to the following: a customer service scoreboard. TD Bank customer service. TD Bank customer service is ranked number 463 out of the 881 companies that have a customer service scoreboard.com rating, with an overall score of 31.53 out of a possible 200 based upon 104 ratings. This score rates TD Bank customer service and customer support as disappointing. From Customer Service Scoreboard, it states, calling TD customer service is a nightmare. On hold 35 minutes, rep picks up call and drops the line. The automation states hold is 3 to 6 minutes, but I'm on hold over 30 minutes each time. Really, they need to get their act together going to chase closing accounts at TD. This is horrendous behavior by a company the size of TD Bank. So please don't forget to go to our Twitter page and our Facebook page by just searching for TD the Bully, and post whatever you feel you need to get off your chest regarding the TD Bank. But please do not post any unrelated matters. Like us, share us, repost us, or retweet us. Our tdthebully.com website will also highlight everything I've spoken about today with examples, links, and documents. If you want to see what was discussed in this episode 4, please go to page 4 of the website. Once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again in episode 5.